Okay, I have both tower gardens mostly planted. I just finished up with the acid bed and it's right here. And so now what I'd like to do is show you how I actually introduce the worms into that. I think I told you a little bit, but I want to actually show you. And also I wanted to make a correction on the last video. I said arugula because it's in the brassica family, that it likes to be in the higher pH bed, in the alkaline bed, but it actually likes a pH of about 6.5. So I put it with the lettuces and the spinaches and stuff like that in the acid bed. So now let's have a look at what's going to happen. So a while ago, or earlier today, I had just put the worms right in the top of this garden tower, and they're going to filter down through here. And just now I took out a layer of soil here, and I'm going to be putting the worms right on top of here, the ones that I harvested out of the very bottom of the worm bin. So they are right in here. I've been keeping them. Let's see, are they there? I covered them with this newspaper and I've been keeping them in this little white tray today. Yeah, there's none here. So they should be right, living right, snuggy buggy right there. There's one there, right on top. Oh, he's moving a little bit. Let's see, I've gotten over the ick factor. There's some. Oh, they're just fine in here. Yeah, so there's a bunch of worms in here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna dump them right into the top of this bed. I'm just going to put them right there. I'm going to try not to disturb them too much. I'm going to keep the clumps together because they are in the clumps. And by the way, also in these clumps are a bunch of little worm eggs. So there's going to be a bunch of babies coming here, not just the worms that we can see right now. So I'm just gently putting this all around. Oh, there's a bunch of worms in here. And there's still a bunch of worms in my worm bin as well. So I'm just putting them here. Very good. There we go. So they're all right here. I'll give you a little shot of that. Just right here in the top. So I'm going to let them have a chance to dive down into the bed just a little bit more. But meanwhile, I'm going to prepare the center of the tower, which is the primary composting bin here in the tower. And what I'm going to do for that is, remember yesterday I prepared some nice bedding with paper, shredded paper, and also coconut coir. So I'm just going to dump this right in the center here. It's going all the way to the bottom. That's going to give the worms a nice little bed to lay in. It's going to also absorb any extra moisture so it doesn't get too soupy down there, but it also drains into the water catchment basin. And I'm also, remember the compost that I ground up yesterday in the food processor? Well, here's some of it. So I'm going to put this right on top of that. Oh, this is really goopy and wet. And I have more kitchen scraps inside, so I'm going to be putting more in later. And also more bedding on top of that. But the worms are just going to go from the top. They're going to go through all the plants and they're going to find their food, which, you know, the worms, they don't eat really the vegetables. They eat the bacteria that's on the vegetables, although the microbes that are breaking down the vegetable kitchen scraps that we put in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and put this over here. Keep them nice and covered and moist. I'm putting that on this bed. And then this bed, I'm going to add just a little bit more soil. Let's look, because I put these worms here a lot earlier today. Are they still up here? Yeah, they're still up here, but some of them I know have gone way down, like I don't see any right here in particular. So I think that they're making their way down through the bed. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plant the top. I'm going to finish planting this bed, which is oh, it's so windy here right now, which is the alkaline bed with the kale. And I have like 5 different kinds of kale. I have dino kale, curly kale, scarlet kale, red Russian kale, tranchuta kale, which I think is more of a cabbage, but it's called a kale because it's kale-like. What else do I have in there? I have some onions and stuff, but in the top I'm going to put the dino kale and some of these green onions, because these green onions I bought at the grocery store and I cut the tops off and look how much they've already grown. And you can plant these right into the soil and they'll just keep growing and giving you nice fresh little green onions. And you can just cut off a couple of the green onion sprigs and it'll just keep coming up. This will last me maybe all winter. I don't know. I might have to replant because sometimes they get worn out, but I'll get a lot of green onions off of this. Okay, see you next time.